Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we're here on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Talking some Monday Night Raw. Hope you guys are all having a good New Year's Eve. I hope you guys had a good Christmas. I hope everybody that's on vacation right now has had a good vacation. See who's here with us in the chat. We've got Pete Cheatham, George John Cox, WWE Talks, Bird Gotti, Nelson, Dean 365 Ambrose, Jonathan Powell, Asteroids Nukes. What is going on, everybody? I know some of you guys waiting for that ball to drop, hit midnight. It's almost midnight for some of you on the West Coast. Maybe some of you overseas. It's already happened. New Year's. If you're here in California, it's only 8:41. Hasn't hit yet. We got about 3 hours and 20 minutes left. But with that, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about New Year's Eve and the ball dropping and all of that. We're here to talk about Monday Night Raw. We've also got Mio joining us in the chat. Kristen McNutt as well. What's going on? So, Monday Night Raw kicks off. It was taped on Friday at the Detroit's Little Caesars Arena. And Raw kicks off with Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre inside a steel cage. And boy, was Dolph made to look like just a jobber. Dolph looked like the biggest jobber I've seen in a long time. Ziggler immediately tried to escape the cage, but McIntyre blocked him. He also tried to escape, but Ziggler thwarted his plans. Both men crotched themselves and then fell to the floor. Or the mat below, I mean. Ziggler gained some control after hitting a Famouser. He tries to escape, but McIntyre intercepted him and laid him out with a headbutt. Ziggler tried to escape yet again, but McIntyre used the cage door and rammed it into Ziggler's head. Go to a break. When we come back, Ziggler is struggling to try and escape. He got dropped to the floor with a giant superplex off the cage. McIntyre then rammed him into the cage head first, telling him that he won't get away that easily. Ziggler came alive and hit a zigzag for a near fall. McIntyre out of nowhere then drilled Ziggler with a Claymore kick. McIntyre then took his time as Ziggler recovered. And this is when Michael Cole goes, McIntyre doesn't just methodically, physically beat his opponent. He does it verbally as well by just berating and belittling his opponent in the ring. And with that, he goes on to say that Ziggler's nothing special. He finally hits a second Claymore kick and pins him. And then after the match, Ziggler yelled at McIntyre, "Is that all you got?" McIntyre responded by returning to the cage, pinning Ziggler with a chair against the cage and drilling him with yet another Claymore kick. McIntyre would then take the microphone after the match and said that he's the king of the Raw jungle. He told Ziggler to walk away, but he kept trying to, Ziggler doesn't even deserve, he says Ziggler doesn't even deserve his scraps. Ziggler says that McIntyre would have been nothing without him, but really, Ziggler would have been nothing without McIntyre, is what McIntyre said. He said, "This chapter is closed, and it's now time to prove why I'm the king of the WWE." He said that he would win the Royal Rumble and fulfill his destiny of winning the Universal Championship. McIntyre then left Ziggler laying after yet one final Claymore kick. So that was the opening to Monday Night Raw tonight. Like I said, it did take place from the Little Caesars Arena. Going forward, we see Shane McMahon get out of a limo and Triple H right behind him. Kind of weird that Shane and Triple H are the two in the limo, but not Stephanie and Vince with them. Stephanie and Vince are not with them in the limo. Kind of weird, but it's all good. It's all good. Give me 1 second. My audio is kind of messing up a little. There we go. Fixed it. All right. Sorry about that. So we then get some New Year's resolutions from different superstars. Finn Balor's New Year's resolution is to win the Universal title. Ember Moon said that hers is to win the Women's Royal Rumble. The Ascension said they want the tag titles. And Lucha House Party just said 2019 will be our year. Seth Rollins came out and cut a pretty good promo, talking about how, in terms of the fresh start, he wants another shot at Dean Ambrose, and that's his fresh start. Triple H would come out and said, with a fresh start, people are going to have to earn things. No more automatic this and automatic that. Hunter said that he also doesn't think that Seth deserves a rematch anyways. He was always his most vocal supporter. Triple H said, I've always been your most vocal supporter. Rollins then brought up their history, saying that he only used him because he was the puppet that Triple H wanted him to be. Hunter said, Seth, you made me believe in your actions and your words. That's why I was your supporter. He said, then you turned and you took me to WrestleMania. You kicked my ass and made me believe again. So he's not asking for anything. He said, I've carried Monday Night Raw for the last year, having classic matches with Finn Balor and even Mojo Rawley, for heaven's sakes. He said, I've led this brand while Brock Lesnar stayed away. Here's my question. Roman's only been gone for about 3 months. Maybe not even 3. 2 months. So he's saying that he felt like he was a bigger star than his old buddy Roman. Some may agree with that. Anyways, Hunter says yes, and you can prove it tonight when you take on the almighty Bobby Lashley. He says, I want to see that old aggressive Seth Rollins come back out. Seth says that he'll burn Lashley down and take everything away from Dean Ambrose when that time comes. He said he'll go after anyone that comes in his way, whether that's Brock Lesnar, whether that's the Universal Championship that he's got to take from Brock Lesnar, or whether that's Triple H, and he's got to take away Triple H's family. Triple H and Seth get nose to nose. Triple H almost starts doing his shaking face thing, where he gets super pissed off, but Shane runs down to try and diffuse the situation. He told Seth, go get ready for your match. This is the new era. We're going to have another fresh up. He said we're going to have something new tonight. It's the Fresh Start Battle Royal, and the winner will go on to take on Dean Ambrose tonight for the Intercontinental Championship. And first comes out is Finn Balor, then we go to commercial. As they come back from commercial, No Way Jose and Baron Corbin come down to the ring. Corbin still wearing his suit and vest and whatnot, not wearing his old gear, which we assumed maybe he'd go back to. Who knows? No Way Jose was the first man eliminated, followed by Victor of the Ascension, after being press slammed to the floor by Cruz. Zack Ryder was in. Zack Ryder did make a tweet last week saying that he hasn't had a single match on Raw in 2018. Well, here you go, buddy. You got your Raw match. Lucha House Party worked together and they eliminated Titus O'Neil. Go to commercial break. When we come back, Balor eliminated the Lucha House Party as Cruz eliminated the B team. Cruz then cracks up eliminations, sending Mojo, Breeze, and Connor out as well. Corbin would go on to eliminate Balor as he was working on Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Corbin eliminated Ryder and then Hawkins. Cruz would then go on to eliminate why can't I say his name? Baron Corbin. Wow. After hitting him with 2 enziguri kicks and sending him over the top rope. I think Cruz, they said, had 8 eliminations in this match. Charlie Caruso would go on to come down to the ring, interview Apollo Crews after. He says that this is what he's been begging for since coming to the main roster. He can't think of a better way to spend the last day of 2018 by becoming Intercontinental Champion. So backstage, Dasha Fuentes is interviewing Natalya. They recap last week's match between Rousey and Natalya for the Raw Women's Championship. Dasha asked Natty what the future holds in 2019. She said 2018 had its ups, and it had its downs. But that match last week pushed both her and Ronda to their limit. She said that she is entering the Women's Royal Rumble, so she and Ronda can face yet again, but this time at WrestleMania. Nia Jax walks in frame, questions if Ronda will even be champion by WrestleMania. Maybe someone will derail that plan. Tamina will then come from behind and attack Natalya, and the two would lay her out. Adam Pearce, this was funny, Adam Pearce and Jamie Noble tried to get in between them to save Natty because Natty was thrown into an electrical box. And Nia basically just picks up Jamie Noble and moves him out of the way. So we go commercial. Corbin, after a commercial, Corbin was upset in the ring. Says no one deserves a fresh start more than he does. He said the crowd had no idea how it was to be the general manager, and he deserves an award for the job that he did. This would then bring out Elias. He said Corbin was a loser, and that led to "you're a loser" chants. He said he said that Detroit can run down Corbin, but his friend Kid Rock agreed that Detroit is making a comeback. Is Detroit like Raw or WCW? Elias said to play. Elias started to play a song, asking Corbin to go away. Corbin said he's heard enough, and about a minute or two, they started brawling in the crowd, and eventually Corbin fled backstage, and Elias stood tall. So I guess leading up to the Royal Rumble, we're going to get an Elias Baron Corbin feud. I guess it's new, kinda, a little, sorta. You can say it's new. You get a 6-woman tag team match. It was Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Ember Moon taking on the Riot Squad. Nothing really to note here. My bad, yeah. Mark Brown says it was an equipment box, not an electrical box. Well, actually, it could be both, because it could have had electrical equipment in that box. You never know. Anyways, starting off this match, some good back and forth action. Riot Squad were in control after a commercial break. The heels were working over Sasha for a long period of time. Morgan and Banks traded near falls. Ember Moon broke up a pinfall and launched off with a crossbody to the floor, taking on Morgan and Riot. Bayley then laid out Sarah Logan with an elbow for the victory. This came when Sasha and Sarah Logan were the legal competitors. As Sarah Logan was whipping Sasha off the ropes, Bayley blind tagged. Sasha then reverses the whip, hits the backstabber. Bayley climbs the top rope, hits the elbow. 1, 2, 3. Good action. I thought this match was well paced, and just with all 6 women looked good. A video package aired of Braun Strowman's 2019 highlights. A lot of them were of him destroying Kevin Owens. Lio Rush would come out with Bobby Lashley, stating that if anyone deserves a fresh start in 2019, it's Bobby Lashley. He then told Bobby Lashley to show his butt, and then Rush told him to dominate as they head down to the ring. So we get Bobby Lashley versus Seth Rollins. Bert Gotti says Ruby got that Heidi Loveless haircut. I mean, she had it. I mean, she had shorter hair when she was in NXT. Nick is not here tonight, Pete. I'm just taking it solo like I've been for the last couple of weeks. It's all good, though. It's all good. So Rollins rushed to Lashley at the start, but Lashley grabbed Rollins and threw him around shortly after. Rush tried to interfere, sending Rollins into the post via Hurricane Rana. Lashley and Rollins were in a rest hold as we went to commercial break. Rollins then made a comeback, but Lashley took opportunity with Rush's distraction to hit a big slam. Rollins countered, but Rush is back on the apron. He and Rollins essentially played a game of cat and mouse, a game that Rush loses after being thrown into the barricade. Lashley jumps Rollins and he fights back, but he grabs a steel chair for the disqualification. Seth then starts to, like Dean Ambrose would say, lose it and get a little crazy. He starts beating both Rush and Bobby Lashley with steel chairs. Rush launches off with a springboard, but Rollins lays him out and pelts both of them with a steel chair over and over. The announcers said that maybe this is what Triple H was wanting, what Triple H was looking for. And here's my thing. So Triple H told Seth, "You're not aggressive enough. You need to be more aggressive. I want to see the old Seth Rollins come out." But what did Vince tell AJ? "Pal, you've been too nice. You need to be more aggressive. I want to see that black heart, the animal, come out of you, pal." So are we essentially getting the same storyline on both Raw and SmackDown? Between Triple H and Seth and Vince and AJ? Because to me, it sure does seem like that. When you've got Vince McMahon last week telling AJ Styles, "I know you've got this animalistic rage inside of you. I know you've got this black heart that's just dying to show what it's really got and what you can really do. I want you to take SmackDown back. I want you to make it the house that AJ Styles built." And then you got Triple H tonight where he comes to Seth and goes, Seth, I want that old Seth Rollins back. The Seth Rollins that the Authority was behind. The Seth Rollins that we knew was the man. The Seth Rollins that we knew was going to take no prisoners. The Seth Rollins that took me to task at WrestleMania. Like, to me, it's almost the same storyline. I don't know exactly where it's going to go in the long term either way with either of these. But also, spoiler alert, Shane had to diffuse the situation tonight. Apparently, Shane tries to kind of diffuse the situation, get in between again tomorrow night on SmackDown. So again, I feel like this is almost kind of the same storyline. Everybody loves babyfaces. You want to be more aggressive and a McMahon trying to get that aggression out of him. Yes, Triple H is not a McMahon, but he's technically the McMahon. But anyways, what do you guys think? Do you think it's kind of the same, or am I just looking too much into it? Let me know in the chat as we go on here. Ronda Rousey looked mad backstage as Natalya paced. They announced that next week John Cena will in fact be on Raw. He was supposed to be on Raw this week, but some stuff happened and they needed him at the SmackDown show. Anyways, for a third week in a row, they have the same video package of the new faces from NXT coming to the main roster. Then get a 2-on-3 handicap match. Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers against Rhino and Slater. So the heels worked over Slater for a while early. The Singh brothers are way more entertaining than Jinder Mahal, I feel, at least coming off of this match. Rhino made a hot tag. He took care of all three of them. Looked for the gore on Mahal. The referee was distracted by one of the Singh brothers. Mahal then kicked him, hit the Colossus, and pinned Rhino. It was okay for what it was. Next up, Dean Ambrose ran down Seth Rollins for a bit. He will make it his duty to make Apollo Crews' fresh start rotten. So then we get Gable and Rude say that they can't think of anything better than to take on the Revival next week. And they said they will continue to make the tag team division glorious. Revival, Sasha Banks, and Bayley all had tag-related resolutions for 2019. Revival wanted to become the tag team champions. Sasha Banks and Bayley wanted to be the first women's tag team champions. I'm not even going to get into that. So we get Dean Ambrose versus Apollo Crews with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. Crews started this off really hot with some near falls, landed a moonsault to the floor, which sent Ambrose reeling to the outside. Back from a commercial break, Ambrose is in control, grinding down Crews, who eventually manages a comeback. He hit a crossbody, standing shooting star press, and a couple of near falls. Ambrose rakes the eyes and goes for the dirty deeds, but Crews hits a blue thunder bomb. The Ambrose clutching the ropes, rope break. Crews hits the top. Crews hits a tope con hilo and makes his way to the top rope. Goes for a frog splash, but it doesn't connect. Ambrose then lays him out with the dirty deeds and pins him, retaining the championship. I thought this was a really good match. I thought it was weird that, they want to push Crews essentially, but then he just lost clean, so maybe they don't want to push Crews. I don't know. Backstage, Alexa Bliss announced that she's misrunning the women's division. She said that she made history, because if you say that enough times, eventually it becomes true, WWE. She announced that A Moment of Bliss, a new talk show, will debut next week. It's going to be the first talk show in WWE hosted by a woman, and her first guest will be Ronda Rousey. She then said, Ronda, now I know your idol was Rowdy Roddy Piper, but please, I ask you to come dressed for the occasion next week, because you're going to be standing in the ring with a goddess, not slumming in some pit. I like that line a lot. We got highlights of Brock Lesnar, as they said that he will also be on Raw next week. Then get our main event, Ronda Rousey and Natalya taking on Nia Jax and Tamina. Ronda, who was still ticked about Natty's assault earlier, beat up Nia and Tamina right as she got into the ring. She beat up Tamina once the bell rang, but Nia splashed her in the corner. Natty gets tagged in as she and Tamina wrestle for a bit. Ronda is tagged back in as she laid both women on the laid both women out to the outside with crossbody. Nia and Tamina both work on Natty until Ronda makes a hot tag. Nia managed to cut her off as she went to the top rope for a big Samoan drop. Ronda tried for a power bomb but escaped instead. Going forward here, Ronda goes for an armbar on Tamina, but Nia cut her off with a leg drop. Tamina gets up. Tamina sets up Ronda for a superfly splash, but Ronda gets to her feet and applies the armbar instead. Tamina quickly, and I mean quickly, tapped out. Ronda and Natty celebrate their win, and as that goes, that is the final WWE television show of 2018. With that, take some calls. If you guys do want to call into the show, number is on the screen, 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. Also text into the show as well if you want to give your thoughts that way, or just let us know right here in the live chat. Put the text number in the chat for you guys. Again, if you do want to call in, go for it. We'll read some of these here in the chat as well. I see some of you guys asking about CM Punk. CM Punk ain't coming back to WWE. DJ McDaniel says, "What up, Tim? Raw sucked balls. What else is new?" I didn't think it sucked. I thought it was a fine show, better than most of the other shows we got in 2019. But let's take a call. Call, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Happy New Year, Tim.
How's it going? Happy New Year's to yourself.
Anyways, I have a question.
Shoot.
How would you predict it? Well, what are your predictions for the booking for the Royal Rumble winners?
I mean, we've talked about this a couple times over the last couple of weeks. I think Seth should win the men's Rumble and Becky should win the women's Rumble.
Well, I'm talking about like the odds-on favorite. What does the odds-on favorite say?
Seth and Becky. They're the favorites to win.
Well, the current odds-on favorites. Well, I saw a video of yours saying that Charlotte and Steph were the odds-on favorites.
Well, if you're talking about the betting odds, but I'm talking about like other people, like other journalists and stuff.
Yeah,
they're hearing Becky and Seth. But if you look at the betting odds, I haven't checked the betting odds since Friday, and those last betting odds did say Charlotte was the favorite. But like I said, I haven't checked them since Friday, so they could have changed since these tapings did happen. But like I said, I think it's going to be Seth and Becky, and that's what I've heard a lot of other people predict as well, that Seth and Becky should win it and then go on to Mania.
This is how I think Seth's road to Mania should go. Have him win the Rumble out of nowhere, or gets a loud pop, and then somewhere where like at a pay-per-view on the top of my head, at like Fastlane, I'm gonna say someone like Baron Corbin or Drew McIntyre, or face him, and if they win, Seth, they're added to Seth's match.
I don't like when what's the reason for it though? I don't like when they do that. Unless there was some sort of disputed finish in the Rumble, I hate when they do that. The Rumble's supposed to be, you win the Rumble, you get your match at WrestleMania. Now, I know in the past they've added a third guy. They did it at WrestleMania 20. They did it at WrestleMania 22. They did it at WrestleMania 24, which that was a completely different circumstance, which I like the way they did it that time. But still, I don't like when they add the third guy because it kind of waters down, say Seth wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
So he should get his shot, but why does this other guy automatically get a shot when he didn't win the Rumble? What's the Rumble for then?
Yeah, like 2015. Huh.
Right. I mean, I guess you can say that. Yeah, that one too. I didn't think about that. WrestleMania 30.
Basically, it's physically impossible for someone to beat Brock Lesnar unless
not necessarily.
Go ahead and go. Go ahead and beat it. Go ahead. You have my word. Beat him. So yeah,
But all
like
right, with that, I want to say
like
thanks for the call and have a good night.
wait, no, Tim, not yet. Like continuing. I'm not done talking.
Well,
Like one,
we gotta wrap this up. I got other people trying to call in.
yeah, continue, yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna say this: Charlotte, Charlotte could win the Rumble, and well, this is what I'm gonna say: Becky wins the Rumble, who beats Rousey in Mania, and Charlotte, then Asuka's champion to like Money in the Bank, and then Nia like beats her, and then Charlotte catches in, and after when Nia wins the belt, like 2016, remember?
Right.
Yeah, remember that?
Yep.
That was so awesome.
All right. Thanks
And
for the
then
call and have a great night.
okay.
All right. Let's take another call here. And got people trying to call in. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, yes.
How's it going?
So I have two questions
Sure.
for you. One, who is there will be some special guest women would be part of the Women Royal Rumble like last year?
Honestly, I haven't heard anything, but I don't think it's needed this time. I understand why they did it last year because it was the first Women's Royal Rumble. So they're like, hey, let's get as many big names, Hall of Fame names, recognizable names as possible. But now, I think I haven't looked at the roster, but I think even if they have some NXT women just appear in the Rumble, not have to be call-ups or anything, but just appear, I think they could have enough women to fill a 30-woman Royal Rumble where they don't need to bring any of them back. Maybe you can bring back one or two, maybe even three, but you don't need almost half of the Rumble to be all women that haven't wrestled in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Okay. And how are you liking this new side of Seth? You were right, like 10 minutes ago, that Vince and Triple H was trying to make Rollins and Sal more rough,
Right.
and more extraction.
I think I like it. I think, Seth Rollins has kind of been the same character since he came back from his injury. Well, not really. You don't even want to say come back from the injury. After the match with Triple H, he's just kind of just been that cool baby face, one that everybody likes to get behind. A great wrestler, always has good matches, and I think he needs a little bit of a change. I think Seth needs a slight aggressive. I think the new aggressive Seth Rollins could be a fresh thing. I know they keep using the whole fresh start, but I think this could be a good new thing for Seth as far as change up the character a little. He doesn't have to turn heel, but make him a little more aggressive. And so he's not just this, I'm always going to go out there, have a good time, put on great matches and this and that kind of stuff. Now he's going to go out there and he's going to want to prove himself every time he's out in the ring instead of just thinking, oh, well, I think I'm the best, so why do I need to try harder? Now Triple H has gotten into his head that you need to be a little more aggressive to prove that you're the best to everybody. So I think it could be a good change.
And another thing, why is like wrestling news think that Roman Reigns will come back?
I mean,
like this year. I hate that.
Here's the thing. I want to say thank you for the call and have a great night. But here's the thing. Nobody knows when Roman can come back. If you see anybody reporting Roman's going to come back in 2018, Roman this, Roman that, you can't. You don't know. Those are people that have never, I don't want to say this because I could be wrong, but the people that are reporting that, oh, Roman's going to come back within the year, Roman ain't going to be gone that long, those are people that have never experienced firsthand with someone that's had leukemia or had cancer. I had a grandmother that had it, that passed away from it. She was diagnosed with it, and literally 6 weeks later, she passed away. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Roman, but I'm just saying, in some cases, you can get diagnosed and it just 1, 2, 3, you can't kick out. Other cases, like when Roman had the first time, he went through the treatment and it all worked and everything was good. So it's just, you can't take anything that someone says when they go, oh, Roman, I expect him to be back in 2018. Oh, yeah, summer. Like I've seen some people try to say, oh, yeah, Roman should be back by summer or something. You can't say that. Those are people that are narrow-minded and don't understand what he's really going through. This is not like a broken leg or a torn ACL and you say, oh, torn ACL, 8 to 9 months, he'll be back. No. This is something that no one can predict. Roman could be gone for 8 months because he gets through it really quick. He could be gone for 5 years. Who knows? Nobody knows. Roman can go through all of this. And at the end, they say, you're clean. You're clear. You're good. If you want to return to wrestling, you can. And maybe he gets that mindset of, you know what? Maybe there's something else I want to do. I know I said I'd go back, but I've had so much time off that now my priorities have changed. So you never know. You honestly never know. I'm not saying he's never going to come back, but there is that slight chance. You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows. He doesn't know. And for anybody to go out there and try to predict when Roman Reigns is going to come back, that's a narrow-minded, nonsensical, just as somebody that's experienced, someone that, like I said, my grandmother had it, got diagnosed, 6 weeks later she passed away. My aunt, she had it, she fought it, she's in remission. So I've seen it personally, both ways. Someone pass away from it, and someone fight it and be good. So I don't want to harp on this too much. Let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on? Caller, you're on the air. Going once. And lost him. All right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. Steve Emblom says it took Kenta Kobashi about 2 years before he returned from his bout. Correct. And like I'm saying, that can happen to Roman. It could be 2 years. It could be 3 years. It could be never. It could be a year. We just don't know. Daniel Molenex. I say Roman will win the Rumble and then go to WrestleMania 35 and become the new Universal Champion. I would not be opposed to that at all. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
What do you think about Green Ranger debuting in 2019?
I think it's very, very interesting. I think it's something that nobody expected. He's done some MMA. He's got 5 wins and 0 losses. So, I mean, that's really cool. I did speak with the owner of Laredo Alliance Wrestling, or Laredo Wrestling Alliance. I can't remember exactly which one it is. And he stated that working everything out, they're going to start training him here shortly in the next couple of months, and then we'll figure out when the match is going to be. I'm excited. I was a huge Power Rangers fan growing up.
Thanks for the question.
Not a problem.
Me answer.
Not a problem. No, I think this could be cool. I mean, I know a lot of people bash this saying, oh, they're just going out there and getting a celebrity to appear, but I think he's the kind of guy, from what I've ever seen from him, he's not just going to go out there and just half-ass it or just, oh, I'm going to get a payday. No, he's going to go out there, he's going to give it all he's got, and they're going to train him properly and everything. They're not just going to say, oh, hey, here's how you take a bump, now go out there and do it. No. From what I was told, they're going to go, and over the next couple of months, they're going to train him. They're going to train him properly, and then they're going to do the match. I don't know if it's going to be 1 match, 2 matches, or more, but I'm interested. George John Cox says you are cutting in and out. Is that happening for everybody? Because nobody else is saying anything, and it sounds good on my end. Let me try something really fast. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, Tim, what's up? It's Steven. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Before I ask a question about Raw, let's talk about something that excites me.
Okay.
How about the NXT UK brand? How do you feel about that?
I've actually been liking it. I think I've watched all except for maybe 2 or 3 episodes so far. I think I'm 2 episodes behind. But I've liked everything I've seen so far.
Now, tell me this. Do you not think that, what's his name, from Ireland, what's his name? Jordan Devlin. Do you not think he surpassed Finn Balor?
Surpassed?
Yes, as a wrestler, as a
No.
performer. I mean, no?
No. I know a lot of people do the comparison because, one, he's trained under Finn, and 2, people like to say he looks like Finn. But I still think because Finn's got the experience on him. Finn's been around way longer. Finn's been doing this in Japan and now NXT, WWE. I think Finn's the better of the two.
Okay, got you. And just one thing about Monday Night Raw. Like, the tag team division, I just cringe. Like, when I hear Heavy Machinery is coming, I kind of cringe because it seems like when tag teams come to the main roster, it's just kind of like, I mean, there's really nothing exciting about the tag team division anymore.
You're not wrong.
Right.
I mean, you're about to give an example there. Who was your example going to
Well,
be?
I was going to say, look at who the tag team champions are. I mean, we have the Revival on Raw. We have AOP on Raw, and our champions are Chad Gable and Bobby Roode.
Right? I mean, here's a perfect example. The Ascension. Before coming to the main roster, they were the most dominant tag team in NXT. They held the titles for over 300 days. They were, looking like they were going to be this big dominant force coming to the main roster, and then they did nothing with them. After about 3 weeks, they were just guys.
True. I think they've diminished the worth of the tag team titles on both Raw and SmackDown. But lastly...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I do think the SmackDown titles are better than the Raw titles, just as far as, I don't know if you can say it's those tag teams work better together or that they're just better tag teams, but I do think the tag team division on SmackDown is the better of the two. I wouldn't say they've diminished the SmackDown tag titles that much. I mean, it's not as much as Raw, but I do think that they do need a little bit of a change on SmackDown because we did basically see for 3/4 of 2018 the same 3 tag teams over and over.
Okay, and last question. With the McMahons coming back, and I don't really, what do you think the major change we will get will be? Because I feel like we're just going to eventually get the same thing. And I kind of hated how the announcers were saying during the Rumble that Baron Corbin ruined Raw when the people running Raw were the McMahons the whole time. So what's going to be the difference now that they're on camera?
I mean, not much that I can think of. I know Vince has supposedly got a lot of new ideas, things that he wants to quote-unquote try out that he may not have tried before. But the whole thing is, in storyline, the fans are supposed to be stupid and think that Corbin was really the one in charge. That's what they want the fans to think. They don't think the fans really think that Vince McMahon is behind the scenes making the final call and everything. They really want the fans to believe that was Baron Corbin. Right. But then at the same time, here's my other thing on that really quick. Wasn't Stephanie his boss? So really shouldn't have it all been going through Stephanie anyways? Just like with SmackDown, it should have. With SmackDown, 90% of Paige's decisions should have gone through Shane. I don't know. They just want us to believe that it's the GM's ruined to the shows and they need to take them back over. But Paige wasn't that bad.
True, I did like Paige. Yeah, I don't want to take up your time. I'll give someone else a chance to call, but I'd just like to say I love the show. You guys rock, and glad to talk to you.
All right, thank you. Have a good year and a Happy New Year's.
All right, same to you.
Just looking at the chat here. Bird Gotti says, the New Day, the Bar, and Usos are tag team saviors. I don't know if they're saviors, but they all work really, really well together, which is a plus. Unlike Raw, who are just a bunch of random teams that don't really work well together. Let's take another call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yes. Oh, snap. Oh.
Hello?
Hello?
What's going on?
So how it's, oh, I forgot. Oh, how do you feel about Finn Balor not getting a lot of title shots? How he couldn't get a title shot yet?
I mean,
Hello?
yeah, to answer your question, you made it seem like you were going to say something more to that. But to answer your question, I really feel like what happened was Vince McMahon was ready to go full on with Finn Balor when he came to the main roster. They were ready to just go 100% with him. They were ready to say, hey, you're going to be the first Universal Champion. You're going to go out there and you're going to be the face of Monday Night Raw as we do this new brand split. And then he got hurt. And then Vince probably looked at him and goes, this guy got hurt this quick? Nope. He's injury prone. Put him on the shelf. Put him on the side. We can't push him. Can't trust it. Same things happened with Sasha. Sasha got hurt too many times. They can't trust it. They can't trust her. That's why she hasn't been the champion in so long. Or even really gotten opportunities in so long. When Vince sees somebody get hurt either a lot over a period of time or really quickly after first coming to the main roster, he sours on them and thinks they're injury prone. Now, I hope this doesn't happen with Alexa, where she got a bunch of concussions in a short period of time, and now they can think she's injury prone. I don't know. But I think that's the issue with Finn, and I think what they need to do is move Finn to SmackDown and basically start his call-up over. Just forget that he was ever on Raw. But let's take another call. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hi, this is Rachel from Tacoma, Washington.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm calling because I got a prediction for the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
This is what I was thinking, that my first prediction was AJ Styles winning the Royal Rumble and, going after Brock Lesnar because he already beat Daniel Bryan already, so then he can move. But now that he's facing Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble, this is my second prediction.
Okay.
My second prediction is that it'll be like long time ago, and it'll be like Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre will both eliminate each other, and it'll be a triple threat to where Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins will face Brock Lesnar for the Universal title because they're both really very, very popular.
Here's the thing,
What do you think?
Here's the thing. Do you remember the 2005 Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
When Batista and John Cena both fell out at the same time. Vince came down and basically said, you two get back in there and restart. So I don't know if they would do that again. I know we saw it with Lex Luger and Bret Hart as well back in the 90s. But I don't see them doing that again. I feel like if they're going to book something like that, they'll do the whole restart and do it over because that's the precedent they made last time when this happened. So, and not to cut you off, but also I really feel like that kind of, like I said earlier, almost diminishes the Rumble because you're supposed to get the one true final winner, the true contender for the championship. And so going in there and saying, oh, two guys won the Rumble, I just never liked it anyways. Anyways, you were saying?
And my second question is, do you see Batista finally, facing Triple H now that looks like he's healed?
He can look like he's healed, but he could still be hurting. You never know because it's a pec injury. He's not going to look any different really under a suit. All we see is Triple H in a suit. He may not be in any pain right now, but I highly doubt that he's anywhere near close to being cleared to return.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Have a great night and
Bye-bye,
Happy
bye.
New Year's. Here's the thing with the pec injury that Triple H had. When John Cena had the injury, John Cena was a freak athlete back then, and he was able to come back quick from anything. If you look at normal prognosis of an athlete in their prime off of that pec injury, it's supposed to be about 8 months. Triple H is, I want to say, 52. I could be wrong. Hold on. Let me see Triple H's age. Triple H is 49. I thought he was 50 already. That's not an athlete in their prime. Yeah, Triple H stays fit and he's always working out and keeping his body regular. But for him to be able to come back, he had that injury in November, December, January, February, March, April, in only 5 months. I don't see that happening. I don't see that being possible. And I mean, it's Triple H, so he could say, hey, I'm not going to sue the company if I get hurt again. I'm here running the company. I'm going to risk it. With anybody else, they wouldn't risk it, but with Triple H, they could. But for a Batista match, I just don't see it happening in 2019. Also, I do want to say, if you guys hear any loud bangs in the background, it's New Year's. People around me are lighting off fireworks. Anyways, let's go to the calls. Never mind. That call did not go through. Let's check the chat here. I do see someone asking, where was it? Someone asked about WrestleMania. I don't see who asked it anymore. Oh, here it goes. Awesome N. According to you, what should be the main event of WrestleMania 35? I think your biggest feud right now, one of the things that you should put up top of WrestleMania 35 should be Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, with Becky Lynch beating Ronda Rousey. I know as far as mainstream publicity goes, that wouldn't be the right thing to do, because what's going to be on the front of every, or well, not the front, but what could be on all those sports websites, all those sports television shows? Ronda Rousey main events and is victorious at WrestleMania. What better way to have on ESPN or Fox Sports 1 or NBC Sports or CBS Sports than them showing that clip of WrestleMania going off the air with Ronda victorious? I could see them doing that just for the publicity. But if you want to go with what's the fans are going to like, what the fans will want to see, what will actually get you ratings, you have Becky go over in the main event of WrestleMania. Let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hello, Tim.
How's it going?
Hi, good. I have a question.
Sure.
Kind of a... So anyways, so Survivor Series is kind of a long time away, but I was wondering what do you think they're going to do? Raw versus SmackDown? Maybe main roster versus NXT? Maybe NXT versus NXT UK? I just want to have your take on that, because I'm pretty curious with Survivor Series.
I think they'll just keep it Raw versus SmackDown, because if you try to implement NXT or NXT UK into the Survivor Series, then that basically diminishes doing a NXT takeover the night before. If you're going to have all your main guys try to take on main roster stars of Survivor Series, what are you going to do? Have them also work the night before, and then they're going in there, quote-unquote, storyline tired and possibly hurt from their matches at TakeOver. So I don't think you can do that. I mean, you can, but if you do, then you honestly shouldn't do a takeover the night before. And with the Big Four, now Big Five pay-per-views, you got that takeover the night before, which is perfect. So I don't think they should incorporate NXT or NXT UK guys into Survivor Series. Just keep it Raw versus SmackDown. That's my opinion.
Well, you said that they shouldn't do it, right? Because there's NXT TakeOver before.
Right.
What if they have two Survivor Series matches? Like one for the main roster, Raw versus SmackDown, and then for the TakeOver you can have NXT versus NXT UK.
I don't think it's needed. I don't think you need to be adding the NXT guys to the main roster pay-per-views, because then it just lets us know, hey, these are the more important pay-per-views. Don't worry about TakeOver, even though they're the better shows anyways. If you really wanted to do NXT versus NXT UK, do it on a TakeOver. Make the takeovers seem important for the NXT brands. I mean, with your question here, maybe they can do a War Games the night before Survivor Series where it's an NXT team versus an NXT UK team.
That would be really cool. And then it would also take away from having a War Games pay-per-view.
Not necessarily.
Well, because, like, they always have NXT TakeOver War Games. And we know that we have to have a War Games match.
Right.
Because it's NXT TakeOver War Games.
Well, maybe you can now set the precedent of not just random teams are going to face in War Games. Now War Games is NXT versus NXT UK. Maybe they can go that route or something. I don't know what the actual plan is for the NXT UK takeovers and how many they're going to do. I know we have the first one coming up on the 12th of January. But other than that, I mean, it's a plausible idea, I guess you can say.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Thanks for your call, and have a great Happy New Year.
You too.
I mean, I think it's a feasible idea. You have War Games be NXT versus NXT UK. I mean, they also want to do Bert Gotti, I don't know. Women's War Games. There's not enough women in NXT. And then you kind of... I don't know about that. I'm not saying that it'd be bad. But a lot of the NXT women aren't experienced. And they're not experienced enough to go in there and do a good cage style. You know, I don't think they have the experience level as the men in NXT do. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
So just a thought that I just had. Imagine the red Power Ranger coming back for a tag team with the green Power Ranger.
Sure. I know he's not even doing like acting or anything anymore. He's a paramedic. He's an ambulance. He's an EMT now. So I don't know what kind of shape he's in or anything, if he would be even willing, to be honest.
Okay.
All right. And I guess that was it. No, the guy that played Jason, the original Red Power Ranger, he's not even acting anymore. He's a paramedic, an ambulance driver. And I don't even think he's in, like, I don't want to say bad shape, but I don't think he's in, like, the shape he was when he was on Power Rangers. So let's take this call before we close it out. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yes, I have another question.
Okay.
Do you think that the Undisputed Era should debut on Raw or SmackDown?
It's a tough one. I don't think they should come up till after SummerSlam. You keep them in NXT for 2 years. You have them because SummerSlam weekend was when they debuted in 2017. So you go right after their 2-year anniversary. But as far as Raw or SmackDown, I think they should go to Raw. I think they're big enough. They're a big enough, like they got a big enough following, and they're good enough. I'm not saying SmackDown's not, the wrestlers on SmackDown aren't as good as the guys on Raw, but I think their style and the way those guys are, they would fit better on Raw than they would on a SmackDown. Because if you look at it, like those guys are more of the, how do I say, corporate WWE. Like those are what WWE likes in their guys as far as like who they usually get behind more than anyone. When you look at SmackDown, those are a lot of more of the indie style guys. Now I know these are all former indie guys that came from Ring of Honor, but SmackDown's more of the indie guys, the AJ, the Bryan, the Almas, you know. That's what works on SmackDown. But I think the Undisputed Era is kind of like a callback to Evolution, to the Four Horsemen. And those kinds of teams work better on Raw. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I always thought that.
But, all right. Thanks for the call and have a great night.
Yeah. Happy New Year's.
You too. Looking here in the chat, the guy says, who do you think will win the Royal Rumble this year? I've already said it multiple times, Seth and Becky. Mark Brown says, what do you think Corbin will be doing now? Well, looks like he's going to feud with Elias for a little while. Big Wayne 97 says, question, when do you think Alistair gets called up? Probably right after Mania. I know his name's been on the short list for a while. I think you keep him up there. You have him do the match at TakeOver, Rumble weekend. You can have him do something cool at TakeOver WrestleMania weekend, and then he debuts on the next Raw or SmackDown. Colby Duran says, hey, Tim, is the Gargano story a swerve to get the NXT title? And Adam Cole beats him for that title, and Matt Riddle beats him. You're looking too much into down the line, who beats who. That's too much of this guy beats this guy, and this guy beats this guy. But I do think the story with Gargano is going to end with him beating Ciampa at Mania weekend. New York. TakeOver New York. In the Barclays Center. Johnny Gargano is going to walk out the champion. He's going to do what he needs to do to make sure that Gargano or Ciampa keeps that title at TakeOver Philadelphia. No, TakeOver Phoenix. And then he's going to somehow get that title shot in Mania weekend and finally beat Ciampa. I think that's how the story has to end. The story has to end. It's been a year and a half-ish. Now, well, I guess a year since Gargano came back from the knee injury and all that. It was really a year and a half if you go look back at Chicago when he first attacked. Anyways, the full year storyline of, okay, Johnny kept just trying and trying and trying. Couldn't get it done when it counted. But then finally, on the biggest weekend of the year for WWE, he does it. With that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight on this Monday Night Raw podcast, and I guess you could say random Q&A afterwards. We're doing the same thing tomorrow after SmackDown. We'll talk SmackDown, then we'll take your questions from either the calls or the chat. I want to say have a happy New Year's to everybody that's already experienced the New Year's, everybody that's already in 2019, or everybody like me that's still about 2.5 hours away from 2019. Happy New Year's. 2019 is upon us. Things will change. Things will be different. Hopefully, this fresh start is truly a real fresh start for the WWE. You can follow us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited on YouTube, Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD, at PWUnlimited on Twitter. You can follow me, of course, at Timmy Buddy. Go follow our friends over there at Fightful.com. You can follow them on Twitter at Fightful Online, Fightful Wrestling. And if you say, hey, I like talking wrestling, but where can I go to hear MMA? Where can I go to talk about the UFC? Fightful's got you. Fightful's got their Fightful MMA Twitter, their Fightful MMA website, and their Fightful MMA and Boxing YouTube channel. So go check them out as well. Have a good night, guys. Talk to you tomorrow after SmackDown.